You're waiting for the lottery ticket, aren't you? The massive breakthrough, the dramatic moment where everything changes, the quantum leap that solves all your problems overnight. That search for the big secret, the one trick, the one seminar, the one piece of advice is the single greatest lie holding you back. It's the reason you start every year with a burst of motivation only to crash and burn by February. We've been conditioned to believe that transformation must be painful, sudden, and heroic. But that thinking is fundamentally flawed. It is the myth of the quantum leap. The truth is, success is not a miracle, it's math, and it's found in the simplest, most boring concept on earth, compounding. To truly grasp this, let's look at the famous slight edge choice. You have two options: take $3 million cash right now, or take a single, lonely penny that doubles in value every single day for 31 days. Most people, seeing the massive immediate reward, take the cash. They choose the path of comfort and instant gratification. But the doubling penny, the embodiment of the slight edge philosophy, wins every time, quietly accumulating value day after day, until it finishes the 31 days with over $10 million. That exponential curve, built from tiny, easy increments, is the entire philosophy of massive, irreversible success. It proves that the small decision you make today, which seems meaningless, is the only decision that truly matters. Stop searching for the quantum leap that doesn't exist. Start mastering the compounding choice. Because once you understand and trust this principle, you realize that consistency destroys all limits, and your potential becomes limitless. The slight edge philosophy. We've seen the math of the doubling penny, and now you know that success is not a quantum leap, it's an exponential curve. But how do you start that curve? The secret to becoming unstoppable isn't complex, nor is it exclusive. It is actually shockingly simple. The greatest achievements in wealth, health, and happiness are built on small, daily choices that are easy to do. Think about it: reading 10 pages of a good book, choosing to take the stairs instead of the elevator, making one positive phone call to strengthen a relationship, or putting $10 into a dedicated savings account. These are not heroic acts, they require almost zero willpower. They are small, simple decisions, requiring less than 10 minutes of effort. This is the slight edge. They are the necessary positive choices that, when repeated, put you on the long-term success curve. But here is the central paradox that creates the 95% failure rate. Because these actions are so easy to do, they are also devastatingly easy not to do. Skipping the 10 pages feels painless today. Eating the donut instead of the apple feels negligible right now. Pushing the small savings contribution to next month costs you nothing in the moment. That daily, simple choice is where the vast majority of people fail, not because they're incapable, but because they dismiss the power of the infinitesimal. They mistake the lack of immediate negative consequence for the lack of long-term consequence. This is why the slight edge demands a philosophical shift. You must fundamentally stop looking for the grand plan and fall in love with the mundane. The small choices are the battleground. Every single day, you are presented with dozens of these tiny choices, each costing almost nothing in effort, yet carrying the weight of your entire future. If you choose the simple, positive discipline, you are guaranteed eventual success. If you choose the simple, easy way out, you are guaranteed eventual failure. The man who eventually climbs the highest mountain is not the one who takes the biggest, fastest steps. It is the one who understands that showing up for the single, simple, easy-to-do step today is the only thing that matters. This shift, this belief in the power of the tiny choice, is the ultimate difference between temporary effort and consistency. Destroys all limits. Philosophy must precede action. We've established that the daily, tiny choice is the key to the entire system. But here is the critical missing piece: you cannot get lasting results by changing your actions alone. If you try to force yourself to read 10 pages a day without truly believing it matters, you will inevitably quit. Why? Because success isn't ultimately about new how-tos or tricks, it's about changing your philosophy, your inner mindset, which then governs your choices. If you operate with the philosophy that the daily, 10-minute choice doesn't matter, then every small, positive action will feel pointless. Your subconscious mind will correctly argue, why bother with one push-up? It won't change anything today. And when you face the slightest bit of resistance, you'll quit during the first week, because the inner argument is already lost. This is why most personal development books fail. They focus solely on the what, the action plan, but ignore the philosophical why that sustains the action. The true slight edge is the inner belief that every single action, no matter how small, is a decisive vote for your future self. You must fundamentally believe in the power of the compounding penny before you can commit to doubling it. This belief is what separates the temporary enthusiast from the truly unstoppable individual. The enthusiast attempts the habit, the unstoppable person adopts the philosophy. The positive action becomes the inevitable byproduct of a deeply held belief, not a strenuous act of discipline. You stop measuring yourself by the visible results in the mirror today and start measuring yourself by the integrity of the choices you make every single moment. This commitment to the philosophical why gives you the strength to persist when the effort is high and the visible reward is low. This mindset ensures that you trust the process, long before you ever see the spectacular, compounded result. The two paths of life, the test of faith. Once you fully commit to the slight edge philosophy, you don't just see a path to success, you begin to see life itself as two inescapable paths, the success curve and the failure curve. This visualization is critical because it reveals why most people fail. Both lines start almost identically, they are separated by such an infinitesimal margin that your mind naturally dismisses the difference. This is why appearances are always deceiving. For the first 6 months, the person who consistently reads 10 pages of a valuable book every day and the person who chooses to watch an extra 30 minutes of trivial entertainment look exactly the same. Their lives, their weight, and their finances are unchanged. But every simple, positive choice puts you slightly up the success curve, while every simple, negative choice puts you slightly down the failure curve. You are either making a deposit into your future or making a withdrawal, but the bank balance looks the same today. This almost imperceptible separation is the ultimate test of your faith in compounding. You are asked to believe that the positive choice matters, even when the visible results tell you it doesn't. This subtle divergence is the true battlefield. The person on the failure curve starts to feel justified in their stagnation. See? It didn't work. I tried reading for 3 weeks, and nothing changed. The unstoppable person, committed to the slight edge, knows that the effort is being stored, waiting for the tipping point. They understand that the simple choice to eat the apple instead of the donut, repeated 180 times, is not about the calories lost, it's about the identity gained and the direction of the curve set. By choosing the easy, positive discipline daily, you guarantee that time is working for you, ensuring that you stay on the path toward massive, exponential success. The tipping point, the moment consistency pays off. The greatest motivational challenge you will ever face is the period between months 2 and 18 on the slight edge journey. This is where the two paths, the success curve and the failure curve, are still almost indistinguishable. But here is the critical breakthrough: the results only appear suddenly and dramatically when the compounding effect hits critical mass. This moment, when the invisible work becomes visible, is called the tipping point. The daily choice to read those 10 pages, which seemed meaningless for 6 months, suddenly results in a foundational mastery of your niche, getting you noticed for a promotion, or giving you the confidence and competence to launch that business. The 5-minute daily stretching routine, which felt useless, suddenly allows you to complete a marathon without injury. The $10 a day savings, which felt tiny, suddenly becomes a down payment. The tipping point is the point where the failure curve plummets into depression, regret, and debt, while the success curve explodes toward wealth, health, and freedom. The two paths, separated by a millimeter of daily choice, suddenly diverge by miles. The true motivational lesson here is about blame and belief. The people who quit right before this moment, standing on the edge of the slight failure curve, always blame external forces. They say they were unlucky, the economy was bad, or the system is rigged. They refuse to accept that their failure to achieve was simply the compounded result of daily, easy choices not to do the right thing. The successful know the truth: they didn't succeed because of luck or a massive talent infusion. They succeeded because they just stayed on the curve long enough for consistency to destroy all limits. The simple choice to eat the apple instead of the donut, repeated 180 times, is not about the calories lost, it's about the identity gained and the direction of the curve set. Stay on the curve. Trust the math. The breakthrough is not coming to you, it is compounding for you. Time is your ally or enemy. We've established that the two paths, success and failure, are only separated by a daily, easy choice. But what is the active ingredient that takes that millimeter of difference and turns it into miles? It is time. Time is your greatest, non-renewable asset, and consistency is the only force that dictates whether time works for you or against you. Time, itself, is entirely neutral. It's the engine that compounds the seeds you plant. The true power of the slight edge isn't the action you take, it's the time you commit to that action. When you compound small, positive actions, the 10 minutes of reading, the healthy snack, the $5 extra saved, time becomes your most powerful ally, guaranteeing your eventual success. It takes that initial tiny deposit and uses the exponential power we saw with the doubling penny to make your success irreversible. You are building positive momentum that time accelerates. But when you are inconsistent, when you allow the easy not-to-do choices to accumulate, the missed workout, the ignored email, the impulse purchase, time becomes your most devastating enemy. It takes those small, seemingly insignificant negative choices and compounds them into the slow, steady decay of the failure curve. The cost of delaying a positive action is not merely the time lost in that moment, it is the compounding effect of the opportunity you missed. You can never get back the first 9 doublings of that penny. This is the ultimate motivational truth: every moment of delay is a conscious choice to allow time to work against your goals. The unstoppable person understands that the clock is running on the compound effect. They don't just act to get a result, they act to make time their partner, knowing that the person who respects the power of compounding today will be unrecognizable a year from now. Action before motivation, show up to get the power. We've established the math of compounding, and we've seen the danger of the failure curve. But what is the final, most common lie the failure curve tells you every morning? It tells you that motivation must precede action. You are told to wait for the perfect feeling, the surge of inspiration, or the moment of supreme willpower before you start. This belief is a recipe for failure because you will simply never feel motivated every single day. The truth is the reverse: motivation doesn't precede action, it is a reward for action. You must radically challenge the common belief that motivation is required to start. The moment you accept this lie, you are outsourcing your success to a fickle emotion, guaranteeing inconsistency. The motto of the slight edge is, show up to get the power. You must do the thing, start the action, read the one page, tie your running shoes, to generate the momentum and the power necessary for consistency. Think of it like pushing a boulder. The initial shove requires maximum effort, but once it starts rolling, it builds unstoppable momentum. Your small, easy, daily action is that first shove. The momentum, the feeling of satisfaction, the sudden boost of energy, the rush of competence, that is the motivation you were waiting for. You didn't wait for motivation to show up, you created it. The key, then, is to commit to the simple, daily effort, not the feeling. On your best day, you run 5 miles. On your worst day, you apply the 2-minute rule and just put on your shoes. In both scenarios, you are showing up and generating power. This philosophical pivot ensures that your consistency remains unbroken, regardless of your emotional state. You commit to the simple, philosophical integrity of the action, knowing the feeling will always follow. The 10-page rule, fueling the compounding. We've established that the power of the slight edge lies in your philosophy, not your physical effort. Now, how do you sustain that philosophy? How do you ensure your inner world doesn't run dry of belief, causing you to slide back onto the failure curve? You need a simple, non-negotiable action, a daily investment in the fuel that drives your compounding engine. Here is the single most important application from the slight edge: commit to the 10-page rule. Commit to reading 10 pages of a good, positive, self-development book and listening to 15 minutes of educational audio every single day. This is not optional, it is mandatory maintenance for your philosophy. Think about the math. Reading just 10 pages a day means you will finish over 30 books every single year. Listening to 15 minutes of audio means you consume thousands of hours of expert knowledge that your competition ignores. This is not about the result of the first 10 pages, it's about the compounding of knowledge. That simple, half-hour daily investment is the essential fuel that prevents your philosophical well from running dry. It constantly feeds your mind positive solutions, ideas, and reminders of the compounding power. This daily infusion of high-quality information is how you change your inner world, which then dictates your outer world. The person who commits to this rule is ensuring that every single one of their daily decisions, whether to hit the gym or stay on the couch, whether to save or spend, is made from an increasingly knowledgeable, powerful, and successful mindset. The book and the audio are the fertilizer for your success curve. You're not just reading, you are protecting your philosophy, guaranteeing that when the tipping point arrives, you are prepared and ready to receive the massive rewards that consistency destroys all limits to deliver. The ripple effect of integrity. We've seen the math of compounding and the truth of the tipping point. But we must now address how this slight, daily choice affects your entire life, not just one goal. This is the ripple effect of integrity. The choices you make in private determine the success you have in public. The person who is struggling with finances often struggles with fitness. The person who is chronically late often struggles with consistency in their business. Why? Because the underlying philosophy, the willingness to dismiss the easy not to do choice, is the same everywhere. The integrity you show toward your 10 pages of reading is the exact integrity you will apply to keeping your word, meeting a deadline, and budgeting your income. The good news is that this effect works both ways. The choices you make in one area of your life, being disciplined about your health, choosing integrity in your relationships, choosing education over entertainment, will always ripple into others. When you master the simple, daily disciplines of the slight edge, you are not just improving your body, you are training your mind in consistency. That newfound consistency then spills over, making it easier to save money, easier to communicate clearly with your partner, and easier to reject procrastination. When you consistently choose to do the easy, positive thing, you are building an inner integrity that acts as the very structure that supports your massive public success. Your success will be fragile and temporary if it's built on a foundation of slight negligence. But when you anchor your life in the small, easy, daily decisions, you become internally sound. You build a deep, unshakable belief in yourself that consistency destroys all limits. You become reliable to yourself, and that reliability, that integrity, is the most valuable asset you can compound. You have seen the math, the philosophy, and the simple actions required. You now hold the entire slight edge blueprint in your hands. You know the secret isn't a miracle, it's a penny that doubles. Now, you face the final, ultimate slight edge choice. You can watch this video, feel inspired for 5 minutes, and then do nothing, choosing the easy not to do path. That path is not neutral, it's the failure curve, and by delaying, the negative compound effect is already winning. Or, you can decide that your future self deserves better. You can commit to one single, tiny action right now, choosing the easy to do path. That single positive choice, reading just one page of that book, or taking a 2-minute walk, is the action that begins compounding immediately. Don't let that momentum die. Don't let the cost of delay steal your exponential future. The time to commit is not tomorrow, it's right now. 0 and let me know in the comments, what is the one simple action you will start compounding today?